And so I loved the challenge of like, can you work within the real rules of nature? Because it's much more truthful, and Bambi did it.
Coral?
And the minute I put it in that space, it's much more interesting to go, how do you deal with that? I knew there were so many other flavors of what a Pixar film could be. And
now it's time to take up field trip. Fun, Nobby. This lucky little boy's daddy is taking him on a trip to the library. The library is full of books. But today he's looking for books about dinosaurs. Well, there are so many books. Here's a pop-up book. And here's a book about Jack and the Beanstalk. Did you know that story? Hooray! Here are books about dinosaurs. My favorite thing about the library is that you can borrow the books you want. You can take them home and bring them back when you're finished. All you need is a library card and a librarian to help you. After he reads this book on dinosaurs, I bet you he'll go back and borrow another one. Hello, dear friends. Someone new is coming to Nobby.
Hello, I'm Lucy.
And oh yeah, she's bringing friends. That's Georgina, the giraffe. That's Nelson. That's Reginald the lion. And oh, there's Henrietta Hippo. And that's Tiggle from Tiggle. Never sure which is which. And that's Ned Zebra.
you just, reams of great stuff, and then you'd find yourself never getting the line that was written on.
64 Zoo Lane. Every day at 9:30 and at 4:30. Only on Nobby. Now it's story time on Nobby. The story of Jack and the Beanstalk.
Long ago, a boy named Jack lived with his mother in a little house. They were very poor and very hungry. All they owned was a cow.
Came down from Earth.
But I remember,
Sell her in the market so we will have money to buy food. Setting out for town, Jack came upon an old man. Hey, I'll trade you 5 beans for your cow. Beans, said Jack. Oh.
I spilled my lunch on her shoes when I first met her. I walked up
Jack
and knocked my
traded the
lunch
cow
on her
for the
shoes
beans and ran
then
home.
started trying to
His
wipe
mom
her
was
shoes
not
off. She's like,
happy.
Bob, step away from the shoes. So
What
I
good
backed
are
up.
these?
And
Go to
she
your
was
room
amazing
now.
because she's just so nice. I mean, she remembers everybody's name from the lowest to the highest and just...
You remember
It's just
you
something to look
lost
forward to.
the family battle over the 2 kittens?
oh yeah,
6 months later or whatever. So how'd the kittens work out?
yeah, yeah.
My favorite line of hers in the movie that we cut out was in the scene where Marlin and Dory are slowly approaching the anglerfish.
Grandma? Is that you?
Oh yeah, and it made me laugh. It made me laugh so hard, but it was kind of weird. I remember we were debating whether we should use it or not
For a while because it kept cracking us up, but it didn't crack other people up.
Yeah, and I remember just feeling a little part of me died when I took it out.
I remember you stepping on an Albert joke
In a session?
Yes, and you could never get Albert
never got it
to
either.
redo something twice. Albert would give you just reams of great stuff, and then you find yourself never getting the line that was written on the paper. So he gets up in front of what looks like the mic just to do a joke.
Oh, well, I actually do know one.
And he goes, there's these 2 mollas, and they're walking. No, he didn't walk! And he so he stopped himself, and you burst out laughing on that. And we never did it again.
There was a sea mollusk, and he didn't walk. Why do I keep thinking that?
Yeah, well, you stole a stapler in 4th grade, so I guess I heard about that. Well, he was great because he kept trying to get this reaction out of him. Obviously, we'd laugh a lot. He'd go on to the next line, and they'd go, oh, I know how to do it. And he'd go back 3 lines before and do it again. You know?
I remember Albert leaving at the ends of sessions. He would head out to his car, and we'd start talking, and a moment later the door would open. He said, I was thinking about that line.
And he came right back.
Yeah.
Check to see that the coast is clear. We go out and back in, and then we go out.
Yes, let's talk about Nemo poking his head out of the anemone for a minute, because those shots were a special joy for all of us to play with.
Is that what you would consider the biggest burden on the film?
When we started working on the anemone for a while, we had spent, I don't know, a year and a half on research on getting surgeons told to move rights, and then somebody said, hey, monsters that are doing fur So why don't we take a tennis ball, stick a bunch of foot-long fur on it, and turn gravity upside down? We're like, oh, and we had anemone the next day for review. You're like, wow, there's anemone. Great. Yeah, so we were grinding to a stop, and then out of left field came a solution from a different film. Best bit of trivia, though, did anybody know that how we did the sandy bottom?
So you didn't actually film somebody's sandy bottom. That's what I thought that's what it was.
Upside down ocean surface. That sandy bottom is,
you're
a frozen,
kidding,
is a
really?
frozen ocean surface.
I had no
Really?
idea.
That is really cool.
Yeah. I just want to toss one thought in about Steve Jobs for a second.
Had a lot of involvement with us on this film.
Yeah. I remember him coming by and taking a look at some of our very first water simulation tests. Some of the first decent looking water coming back and just kind of, wow, this is pretty amazing stuff. And it was just so energizing getting that from him because then he could start to see what the film was going to do from that side as well.
One of the other things that I find very impressive is the level of acting and animation in the film. Because one of the things Andrew was adamant about from day one
I seem to be
is...
adamant a lot in these things.
Do I? Well, you were.
I was.
And it was good. It was
your
just
job.
that he didn't want overly anthropomorphized fish. Yes, they had to act. Yes, they had to express things. I mean, there is a story to tell.
Yeah, could you use the grammar of natural fish motor movements?
And that's a very limiting thing with these fish. I mean, it's a face on a body.
I mean, how do you this is all you got, right?
But it was a big challenge for the animators. But they also then had to deal with the idea of gravity and density, which they did superbly while acting.
You love when the animators would go, oh, there's basically two types of swimming. There's rowers and there's flappers.
Right.
Just to suddenly find those keys,
Those little...
they just help you so much. The amount of firsts that came with this film, I mean, not only from what made it on the screen, but what had to go behind the scenes to make all that was. I mean, we completely reorganized the pipeline of how we made a movie for Nemo.
I remember getting in discussions with people saying, well, no, that's not how you make a computer animation. It's like, okay, there's only ever been 5 of these things, and we did them all. So if there are some rules, we can break them.
Exactly. For me personally, working on it and then seeing it come to life in the computer with all the artistry, it's almost as if I didn't work on it because it's like this whole other thing better than you could possibly imagine. And then, of course, to see it come out and be such a success was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I know I'll never work on anything that will be as long-lasting and in the zeitgeist as Nemo was. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It was like double what we would have even let ourselves imagine it could be like.
Well, you would never enjoy it. I remember I had so much.
reason that father's like he is in the movie, Marlon.
I had so much confidence in the movie by the end.
I did not.
And you would not accept.
I'm so superstitious.
I know, but you would not allow yourself to think that we had something good on our hands. I mean, it was like pathological.
Well, all my 3 kids were born after the film, so they've come to the movie now. It's a thing that's part of the culture in the playground and discussed at kindergarten and describing the characters and speaking whale is something they just do.
I don't know, something about the fish and stuff, it just, people use it as terminology.
When you go to any aquarium and you walk up to a clownfish, someone will yell, Nemo. And I've never been on a beach where someone hadn't said, mine, mine, mine.
That one stuck.
You're sitting at your desk doing this, and then somehow it's out on a beach.
Internationally, it's in the lexicon of aquarium viewers now.
Well, when I'm in an aquarium now, the kids will be saying, hey, there's a Nemo, and there'll be like a manta ray flying around and go, hey, it's a Mr. Ray over here.
I thought we were going to hear some Mr. Ray right now.
Oh, now later, okay?
I'm still getting emails with sushi and Nemo.
Remember that first email?
Oh, it was funny the first 7,000 times.
Wasn't there, like, when we were doing press before the movie came out, the number one question we were always asked is if we were going to have sushi at the wrap party.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which we did.
For me, looking back at the film now, watching it with my kids, I see the film, but I also see all the people and the work that went into the film when I watch it. So it's as if for, almost 2 hours you're watching a yearbook playback.
The most interesting screen of the film is the one where the whole company would come and they just applaud at the strangest time. Like, here's a shot. Oh, look, there's 10,000 jellyfish. Whoa! Because they know how hard that was.
If you still got something in your cups, I say cheers to 10 years, and let's hope we're still talking about it 10 years from now. It's been a pleasure and an honor. You're adamant about that. I'm adamant about it.